streaming this thing. Good to go. Good to go?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So. Hello, everybody. Oh, thank you very much for joining us today. My name is James Carell. I'm the head of Viacom Network across UK, Northern and Eastern Europe. 2018 was a breakout year for Viacom-owned Bellator MMA, a year when Bellator emerged as a global sports powerhouse. I'm excited to say that we're expanding the franchise now to include a new Bellator Europe series, giving viewers the chance to see the best MMA talent compete on UK and European soil. Bellator Europe events will air live on Channel 5 through 2019, and we're planning 6 events across the year, starting with this Saturday's event up in Newcastle, live on Channel 5 at 10 p.m. The event is headlined by local Sunderland boy Ryan Scope and Bellator veteran Patrick Pitbull Frede. Saturday's fight will also air live in Sweden and in Denmark on Paramount Network and in Finland on MTV. Bellator Europe brings appointment to view sports to our network, and it's an exciting new development for our business. Now, I'd like to introduce to you the president of Bellator, Scott Coker.
Testing. Is it on? Is it working? Testing. Okay. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate everybody coming out to our media conference today. It's been a great ride in getting to this point. Last year, we had our record ratings for Bellator worldwide. And traditionally, it's been a product based out of the United States, doing 22 fights a year. And those fights would air in 160 countries around the world. It's a company that had blue-chip sponsors and Monster Energy Drink, who is also sponsoring the European Series, as well as Light Beer from Miller. We have AutoZone, Dave & Buster's, a lot of blue-chip sponsors in the U.S. So it's a great time to be in the Bellator business. We put together a great team in the U.S. over the last 4 years. And one of the mandates of Viacom, starting with Bob Backish, who's our CEO of the entire company, said, we want you to expand internationally. And that time, we started doing some fights here in London. We went to Dublin. We went to Tel Aviv, Budapest, Belfast. We did some fights with Bama and David in Newcastle, and started developing a relationship with David at that point and his company, Bama, and had some great success in broadcasting back to the United States, again, with some great fighters. And what I found was that there's tremendous talent here in the UK. So we said, okay, let's set out a plan, which we took to Bob and Wade Davis and the staff here at Channel 5, and we said, look, we have a plan that we think will work, and we want to develop the talent locally. I know that the UK traditionally has seen MMA at 3 o'clock in the morning, but we're about to change that. We want to put world-class mixed martial arts fights on where you could have it in prime time here in the UK and not have to wait till 3 in the morning and watch it till 5 in the morning. So that's the beauty of this series, is that you will be able to watch it at 10 o'clock on Channel 5. Like James said earlier, it's a 6-fight series, and that's just the beginning. And just to talk about the Channel 5 fit, everybody knows here, obviously, it's part of the Viacom family, but some of the members of the media, it's all together. Bellator is owned 100% by Viacom, and tremendous reach. And we're really looking forward to putting some great fights on for Channel 5. I'd like to thank David Lynn, James Carell, Bob Backish, Paul Dunthorne, Wade Davis, and the entire Viacom team back in New York for making this possible. Looking forward to bringing several events, again, starting this Saturday in Newcastle. and really the man that made it possible to get us to this point, which I consider him a very good friend and a colleague. He's done some great work, and now we're working together, and that's Mr. David Green.
Well, thank you, Scott. Thank you, James. And thank you for all coming today to witness this announcement. And as you already heard, we're here to announce the official launch of the Bellator European Series, and particularly the fact that it's showcasing live on Channel 5. This is great news for Bellator, but I think it's really huge news for UK, Irish, and European MMA. I've personally been involved in MMA here for many years, as have many of you in the room. And we all know the talent pool here runs really deep. Very skilled fighters and fans that are enthusiastic and knowledgeable, and crucially growing in numbers. But we've never had the frequency of the events on such a solid platform. We all know it's a great sport, and we all know it's very exciting. We just haven't had the people to see it. And this is genuinely a watershed moment. And it's down to a few key factors. On the one hand, we've got Bellator and Scott Coker. I've known Scott for many years now, and I've admired all the work he's done in the sport. For those of you in the UK not familiar with him, this guy's got absolutely encyclopedic knowledge of combat sports. And he's one of the most experienced and well-liked characters in the fight business. But he always thinks big. So when he talked to me about his ambitious expansion plans here in Europe, I'm, of course, really excited to get on board. Scott and Bellator bring vision and resources to this market. It's what the UK has been crying out for. And personally, I'm just pleased to have a very big toy box to play with now. Fighters are going to get a fantastic platform they perform on, and there's going to be a roadmap all the way to the global stage. Having proven themselves on this side of the pond, it'll be an easy transition to fighting in the US against some of the greats in the sport. We'll also be able to bring fighters in the other direction from Bellator's stellar roster in the US. Local fighters will grow in stature and get the chance to test themselves regularly against world-class opposition. And local fans will get a chance to regularly see some of the biggest stars in MMA competing in their own towns on a frequency we've never seen before. The other key ingredient, of course, is Channel 5. It's truly groundbreaking to have a free-to-air terrestrial channel committing to show live MMA regularly in this primetime Saturday night slot. You can make the best events in the world, but if there's nobody to see them, you're going nowhere fast. And this Channel 5 deal allows large numbers and a large audience, and I just want to thank the team here at Viacom, including James, Paul Dunthorne, Ben Frau, for seeing the potential and giving us the room to grow. Viewers can expect big production arena shows with this series, and the very best MMA talent live in their front room. Today's news and some exciting further announcements we've got coming up very soon will, I hope, be welcomed by MMA and sport fans alike. It's for these reasons I still think there's a massive growth potential in the sport in this country, and this is what we can look forward to in 2019. We'll start, as the guys have already said, we'll start with 6 events in 2019. You'll see more information coming up on the schedule soon enough. And the plan is to grow this significantly over the coming years. So on to our first event, Saturday the 9th, live on 5 at 10 p.m. This show is going to be a great example of what everyone can expect from the Bellator European Series. At the top of the card, we have a very talented local lad, unbeaten at lightweight, Ryan Scope. He's taken on one of Bellator's big beasts, Patricky Pitbull. This sort of fight is only possible because of this project. And we've also got one of arguably the biggest prospects in UK MMA, Fabian Edwards, in his biggest challenge to date, taking on the tough as nails, Lee Chadwick. On the rest of the main card, we've got 2 of the guys sitting right here. On the end, we've got Terry Brazier, already a 2-weight champ. Terry, for me, is one of the definition of a tough, determined competitor. Every time I've watched Terry fight, the whole crowd, whether you're with him or against him, rises up just to his sheer force of will. He'll be facing an equally determined Chris Bungard on Saturday, and you can expect a really, really electrifying fight. Aaron Chalmers, well, for those of you in this building, he needs no introduction, and you know him by his other job on Geordie's show. I think he's brought a whole new audience to MMA. I remember promoting his first fight, and I got so many hate messages going, why have you let this reality star, into our sport and everything else? Flash forward, a few fights later, and I'm getting the same amount of messages back at me saying you're not letting him fight as much. So I think he's done his job. And this is because he's delivered both on excitement and in fighting skill. I think Aaron's had a battle more than anybody else to get respect in this sport. But it must be satisfying for him to enter an arena and see all the guys booing, and minutes later cheering him as he gets another showreel KO on his CV. And I think he'll be looking to do that again against Corey Browning, who's coming over from the US to take him on Saturday. Finally, on the end here, we got Mr. James Gallagher. And James really represents, in person, that roadmap I've been talking about for Bellator. Fighting initially locally in Dublin, he was picked up by Bellator, and he's gone on since to fight in the USA, in places like Madison Square Gardens, picking up a ton of American fans on the way. He's an absolute animal in the cage, but outside, a lovely guy. He's smiling all the time, as you can see. But I've asked him if he'd keep his rather uniquely colourful language to a minimum today. Keep it on the sort of Nickelodeon side of decency would be quite helpful, so we don't scare all these nice people in the building who have let us in and onto their channel. I've actually never been in an arena where these guys haven't won, so I could think of myself as a bit of a lucky charm, but it's probably more likely that they're all very, very good. And you get a chance to talk to them shortly and ask some questions, but of course you can see them on Saturday night at 10 o'clock, where you see Aaron and Terry in action. Thank you very much.
Open up to media questions. Just raise your hand. I'll bring you a microphone.
Can I just ask David Green, for the majority of people in Ireland, Channel 5 is still not available for them. How do they watch the European series?
We're going to make sure, and there'll be announcements to come soon enough, that 100% people will see this in Ireland live. No problem at all.
And for the US shows, for all of us that are in Europe, there's still obviously no way for us to watch each event. Is there any plans going forward on that?
Yes, we don't have all the announcements that we're going to, let's say, announce this week, but I promise you, we've been working really hard on trying to get the live for the UK and Ireland, because you know, at every fight that we have in the US, that's what they ask, and our social team has told us that, look, there is a big issue that you need to fix this, and it's been years, but I'll tell you, the wait is over. We're not going to talk about it today, but I think in the next 48 hours we'll have some big news for you guys.
Michael Morgan, Woe TV. Terry, your opponent Chris Bungard has famously said that he plans to quit MMA if you beat him. Do you see this more of a challenge, or do you see this as somebody who's literally checking out of the sport?
Happy retirement, I say. Simple as that. No, you know, nothing he can say, or you know, nothing's going to change the outcome in my mind at this stage. I'm fit, I'm ready, and I'm excited to get in there. So whatever's going to happen is going to happen. If he wants to retire after that, that's up to him. But that's none of my concern.
James, the last time we saw you, obviously, the fight didn't go your way. Now, you're obviously known for your brash style. Are we going to see a dialing up of that just to, you know, get in the fans' heads, or are we looking at a dialing down considering what's happened of late?
100%, that's me. Do you know what I mean? I'm coming here to fucking kill this guy. I'm not coming in here to take off. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you want me to go in there and, do you know what I mean? I hope you're okay. No, I'm going in there to put him away in the first round. I'm going in there to bust him up bad and get him out of there. Do you know what I mean? This is my life. Do you know what I mean? They think I'm going to go in there and be mates with someone or show someone like, I like you, or do you know what I mean? Don't know what I mean? Scared. This is my life. Do you know what I mean? I'm setting up a future for myself. I want to go and buy a house. I want to like set up my fucking life. So I'm going in there to put this guy away, and I'm going to at him. I'm going to at him more than I went at that last guy. I'm going to at him more, and I'm going in there and putting him away in the first.
Aaron, pressure makes diamonds. There's a lot on your shoulders this coming Saturday. How are you actually dealing with the fact that you are literally, obviously, one of the biggest draws on the card, and you know, obviously, a lot of people are coming to see you maintain your winning record?
I wouldn't say everyone's coming to see us win, that's for sure. I think a lot will be coming to see us lose. I don't really think the pressure is on me this time because I fought in Newcastle before. So I'm not really feeling the pressure as I was the first time I fought there. So like the lads, like Terry said, I'm just excited to get in there and hopefully it's going to be a sellout crowd.
Final question. Scott, you tweeted recently when we were looking at the recent transfers between other organizations that this is something that, I don't know if it was just a throwaway comment, but it's something that you were possibly considering. How serious are you about transfers, and are there any particular organizations that you want to transfer talent around?
You know, I know which one you're talking about, the transfer of the fighters, but listen, we have a open door policy with, our league, and so if somebody else wants to trade a fighter, sometimes they put the fighter on free agency, we'll try to pick him up that way. But that's been really the strength of this company, is that 4 years ago, the roster was thin, and the number one priority at that time was build this roster, and I think we've done it from the ground up, which means that, we sign fighters from a very young, from a very beginning stage of their career, and we've built them, and we've given them the opportunity to compete. And sometimes it works out, and sometimes it doesn't work out. And sometimes you get to a certain point, and then, things happen. But, like the Aaron Picos of the world, like the James Gallaghers of the world, like the AJ McKees of the world. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. So, you build them from the ground up because you're going to need that bench strength later, because those are going to be the stars of the future 10, 15 years from now. And then you got to buy free agency, and that's what we did. We went out and we spent money to buy free agents, and like the Gegard Moussasis, like the Ryan Baders who came over, like the Rory McDonalds, like the Benson Henderson. So, that's how you build a roster, and you build from the ground up, you buy from the top down, and it already had a roster that we helped develop along the way, and then we picked up fighters, that I knew that could deliver for us, and now I think we have a very good roster. But to answer your question is, look, if somebody approached us and the deal was right, we would do it. We have an open door policy, and sometimes, a lot of these conversations are happening, but we just don't talk to the media about it. So, but there are conversations going on all the time between all the leagues, not just one or two. There's 3 or 4 companies that we talk to all the time.
Aaron, you've said that you feel you'll never be accepted as an MMA fighter. You're obviously 4-0 now. What do you feel like you have to do to win these fans over?
Do you know, I don't think anything I can do will win everyone over, so I don't really plan on winning everyone over. Obviously, it's good to get a little bit of hate. Obviously, I get it more than others, but for me, it's just keeping training and being the best fighter that I can be, and if people want to still hate, then fucking that's up to them. I don't really give a shit.
Sebastian Martinez, MMA Nytt. Question for, I guess, both Scott and David, depending on which one knows more. But you announced the Sweden show. There's still no date, or when we get messages very frequently coming to our site, to our mailboxes, people asking, when is it coming? Is it coming to winter, summer?
I'd like to answer that. I mean, this launch and these first set of fights took a lot of time and commitment to get this done. And, now we have the first 3 fights that set in the calendar for the new European series, which will take us into the summertime. But we will be there, and I think that'll be the second half of the year.
And to follow up on that a little bit, fans in Sweden can now watch the shows, however it is with tape delay. Is there any sort of plan coming up for being able to watch the shows live from Sweden?
Yeah, that's something that actually we're working on right now while I'm here with David. So, be patient. I mean, I know we've said this for, maybe a year, but there's going to be some dramatic changes in the landscape of MMA, starting today with the announcement with Channel 5 and the commitment to MMA. So, it's an ongoing process, and you have to think about it like this. We have deals in 160 countries around the world, and it's trying to navigate all those different distributors or outlets and trying to, to get them live. And how do we get them live? Sometimes the rights are tied up with, the difference between digital and linear, and so sometimes we can do it, sometimes we can't. But the number one priority really was to get live here, because we have so many fans here, and we knew that eventually we'd be doing this European series. So let us get out of the blocks here, this week, and then we'll have some updates for you.
And I think just to go back on that, if you caught James's message at the beginning, the really exciting news today as well is that we've got Paramount live for this weekend, and certainly for the European show, on in Sweden and Denmark, and then in Finland on MTV. So it's a great start, and I'm glad to see the fans over there get to see this event, which will be brilliant live.
And final question. What can we expect from next year? Because obviously this year is, full focus on what you've got planned so far, but I'm sure you plan on continuing in both new markets and a greater amount of events in Europe as well next year.
Mm-hmm. Well, look, this is a really ambitious plan. I mean, it's not a sort of toe in the water. And, we're doing 6 events this year, but the plan in simple terms is just bigger and better. We're going to do big shows, and we're going to reach out into Europe and, utilize all that talent and fans that are out there. So, we've got a really big, ambitious plan.
Thank you.
Jami Kuparan from MTV Finland. Hi. Question from David and maybe Scott as well. You said that you plan to showcase local talent and give them a chance to fight on their own soil, but also you said that you will bring on bigger stars to fill out the crowds. How can the fighters get on the card? Is there something they need to do? How can they stand out so they can be picked on the card?
Well, I mean, Scott knows better than anybody, but you can't put a fight on in a country or a region without having local talent there. I mean, but part of the sort of alchemy and part of the mix is getting that local talent, the local excitement. But then what's great about Bellator and what's really exciting is, Scott's not afraid to send over some of the big names that really help to sort of elevate the card and elevate the event in that local area. So it's all about just getting the mix right for the card, I'd say.
Yeah, and you know what? The roster we have is quite deep now, and you'll see those fighters coming over here like you have in the past. I mean, and to be honest, I mean, look, when I look at the table right here, there's tremendous talent at the table right here, and with MVP, with Paul Daly. I mean, these guys are world-class fighters that fight at the highest level. People love to see them fight. Love to see those guys fight all over the world. They fought in the U.S. many times, have a lot of fan base there. But there is tremendous talent here. We're going to build that talent, and then we'll bring over, from time to time, the let's say the Geghards or the Ryan Baders of the world. They will end up fighting here in the UK at some point.
Kieran Cobley, Fight Post. Scott, David, you talked a bit about the European series and sort of the potential for it. With the success of the Heavyweight Grand Prix and the hype surrounding the Welterweight Grand Prix with Paul Daly versus MVP, are we potentially looking at a European Grand Prix in the future?
Well, that's something we haven't really talked about. Like I said, we've been, focused on getting this launch going, but don't rule it out of the question. I mean, I think that the playbook's open at this point. We will continue the tournament series in the United States with DAZN because they appreciate, they really like having the tournaments. And there's a couple other weight classes I think we're really deep in that we have some tremendous talent, but our focus really is now on the welterweight World Grand Prix, and then once that finishes, we will start another tournament. But the weight class is undetermined, but that will primarily be in the U.S. But I'm not opposed to it. If David wants to do something here, we can have that conversation, but we just haven't had it yet.
And certainly in the short term as well, I think the exciting thing for fans and fighters here is the actual fighters from the UK and Europe will get a chance to maybe compete in that tournament, even if it's in the US in the short term.
Mm-hmm. Aaron, we've seen you having a few problems with trolls on Twitter. How frustrating is it when you're working your arse off in the gym and you've got someone on Twitter giving you a bit of stick?
I'll be honest, mate, I don't even have Twitter. It was ran by my agent. So whatever everyone says, I deleted it about 10 months ago because rather than sit and argue with people who are irrelevant to us, I just deleted the Twitter. So all the posts and everything come from my agent. So yeah, I don't see it.
And finally, James, headline the Dublin card with like the comparisons to Conor and for things like that. How much pressure is on your shoulders going into that event?
Not one bit, mate. Not one bit. So there's what pressure to go out and do something you love. Do you know what I mean? There's something you get to enjoy that sets up my whole life. Do you know what I mean? This is one of the biggest moments of my life. I'm just going to go out here, have fun, and enjoy it in front of my home people. It's a sold out event. The event's sold out. 10,000 people in this arena. What pressure is that? That's something I've wanted since I started out in this. Do you know what I mean? This is something I've always dreamed of. This is a dream come true, and thanks to Bellator and Scott and Mike and David here and all the guys that came up through Bama and stuff, like when I fought in Bama a few years ago, and it's like always something I wanted to be the main event, I wanted to go big, I wanted title shots, I wanted this, I wanted that, and then now it's happening, it's all unfolding in front of my eyes. I'm only 22 years old, coming off a big loss, and I'm looking forward and going and getting that big win in this big show. Do you know what I mean? It's the Jimmy show at the end of the day.
I think a round of applause for James answering a question without swearing to everybody.
Question for Aaron. Aaron, I know you said in previous events you've walked into the arena and a fair proportion of people in the seats were there to see you lose.
Yeah.
You're going to be walking into the arena in your hometown. How different is that going to feel for you, and what's the emotion going to be like for you? How different will it be when you walk out in front of friends, family, and so many people that you've grown up with?
Do you know what, I'm going to enjoy it because, like I say, in my first few fights, there was a hell of a lot of booze. But yeah, I've got a hell of a support in my hometown, and everyone that I seem to know is going to be there. So it'll be nice to get some cheers and hopefully put on a good show and hopefully get the win and blow the roof off the arena like we did last time.
Is it additional pressure for you, the fact that it's your hometown, or does that just fire you up even more?
Now, well, like James said, it's my hometown, so years and years ago, you look at the arena in like what's been there in the past, and to fight there in my hometown in front of a sellout crowd is something that I never would have thought possible 2 years ago. So, like I say, I'm just going to go out there and enjoy every minute of it.
Brilliant. And a question for David. I spoke to you many years ago when you were launching BAMA, and it's been quite a journey since then. Can you give us a sense for how you feel the sport has grown through your own eyes, having gone through BAMA and seen the sport grow on this side of the pond, and now you're here working with Bellator, launching a brand new European series?
Well, it's certainly been interesting. And everybody here, there's a lot of people in this room who've been along that journey. And I think, it's been really, really exciting. I think it was a little bit like the Wild West back in the day. I mean, setting it up an event, over 10 years ago and trying to get people along here and then trying to get the TV channels involved was extremely difficult. I think in the US, they've got a lot more of a leg up with MMA. It's seen as a sort of collegiate wrestling and things like that help it on the landscape a little bit more. And it's tough in the UK. It was tough to convince people of its legitimacy as a sport and, and how good it was to watch and how exciting it was. And, it's just been a fantastic journey to go through all of that and see the professionalism that's come through, certainly with the fighters as well, and the standard and the talent just undeniable in UK and Ireland and Europe. I mean, it's fantastic to see how well they're performing on the world stage. We've got a massive fight in the US with MVP and Daly on Bellator and next week. And that is, two of the world's greats fight each other, and everybody's going to watch that. So it's just been a lot of fun, a lot of work, very exciting. And I think, to be here now and get the sort of rubber stamp from Channel 5, to be on a free-to-air on a Saturday night to showcase MMA, you'll come to anything but happy about it. It's fantastic. Thank you.
Brilliant. And question for James. Obviously, we know what happened in the last fight. Your style is such that you're very confident, you're very brash, you like to get in the face of your opponent. On that occasion, it didn't go your way. You got an awful lot of hate and stick on social media afterwards. How long did it take you to sort of compartmentalise that and just put it in the rearview mirror and move on?
I literally, I'd say about 5 weeks after that, I was getting about 6,700 messages a day, like the horses, like it was hard. I was reading them and going like, I can't actually believe like that people would say this kind of thing. Like it was dreadful. And then I would just look at it and be like, wait a minute, I'm going to the VMAs in New York with me mates. Do you know what I mean? I just earned a lot of money at the weekend doing something I love. Like, I just love MMA and training and, like, do you know what I mean? It's just something, it's my passion. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to do anything else. I just love it. I love the whole thing about it. I love fighting. I love training. I love being a disciplined martial artist. I love the fun of it. I love the hyping it all up. And that's just me. I love to have a buzz, do you know what I mean? And I was reading all these messages and, like, and then for a second I'd be like, do I really want to like keep going? Like, do you know what I mean? Like I was looking at them all and they were like saying stuff about my family, about me, like running me down to the floor. And then I'd read them and I'd be like, these are the sad bastards. I'm having a great buzz floating around. Do you know what I mean? Why wouldn't I not? Do you know what I mean? I'm the main event now in my hometown. I'm 22 years old, making a lot of money. I'm fucking loving it. I keep it coming. Keep it fucking coming. I don't care. Do you know what I mean? I'm enjoying life, man. So it is. I haven't felt better after that loss. It's the best thing that's ever happened to me, and I'm going to show that in the 23rd. So as I swear to God, I've never been happier in my life.
Fantastic. And being from the same camp as Connor, has he had any words of advice? He's obviously been through some highs and lows during his career, and he's been at the sharp end and taken a fair amount of stick himself. Has he had any words for you?
Yeah, 100%. It's like, this is where it shows now. Do you know what I mean? It's not to say like, it's not to say you need advice or you need this or you need that. It's up to you. Are you going to take it that way, or are you going to be a world champion? I'm going to be a world champion. So there's no doubt about that. After that loss, I've set my mind that, like, I had a talk with myself, and I was like, I don't want anything else more. Do you know what I mean? There's nothing else. I'm set out now to be a world champion, and that's it. I'm not stopping until I get there. And that's the make or break. Do you know what I mean? Are you going to keep going, or are you going to stop? You can go one way or the other. You can get better, or you can get better. And all them other bitter bastards online that are hating on me, I'm just getting better. I'm just getting better, and I'm going straight to the top.
Just over here. Obvious question, maybe. Over to your left, gentleman. Obvious question, maybe, but I just wondered how what it means to Terry Brazier on the right there, and to Aaron Chalmers, given that, you know, Channel 5 will bring a new audience. You being on Channel 5 live on a Saturday night will bring a new audience to a sport that, you know, is fighting to get into the mainstream. You know, in the past on Channel 5, the Fury cousins, Tyson and Huey, have been watched by 3 million people, 1 million people, and your prime time on a Saturday night in a sport that we all love, that you're going to get great exposure on. What does it mean to you, Aaron, and to you, Terry?
Obviously, we're buzzing. You know, I'm buzzing personally to get this opportunity. And Bellator have put on an amazing card. You know, if you're from the UK or Europe and you haven't heard of us guys, then, you know, I don't know what you've been up to. So, you know, the main card especially is amazing, and it's going to get people hooked. If they happen to just flick across the channels and come across it, I'm pretty sure they're not going to switch over. So, you know, Bellator have done a good job on the matchmaking and obviously the fights they've put on. Yeah, and it's gonna be fireworks, that's for sure.
Aaron?
You just added a bit more pressure there. 3 million people, I hope not. No, I hope so. Juniors, I tend not, like, it's on perfect time, Saturday night, 10 o'clock. So, like Terry says, if you're flicking through the channels and you come across it, I can't see them turning over. I mean, everyone loves to watch a good old-fashioned scrap. So, hopefully, we'll get more than 3 million. The more, the better. And hopefully, we'll keep promoting Bellator the way it is. And who knows where we'll go in the next 2, 3, 4 years.
Aaron, you know, you've converted from, you know, being intimate with women, if I can put it that way, and drinking a lot on a reality TV show to you know, joining probably the hardest profession on earth, a calling, if you like. Are you going to give us war on Saturday night, and what are you going to aim for next if you get the victory?
Do you know what it is? I go in there purely to just enjoy myself and put on the best performance that I possibly can, whether that be a war or whether it be a quick night. I've been in camp since August because I didn't know when the fight was going to be. So, yeah, if this kid thinks he's coming over to Newcastle and he's going to walk through then he's got another fucking thing coming. So, yeah, it's going to be a war, put it that way. And I won't be backing down until I'm fucking either knocked out or he is.
And what are your ambitions afterwards? Do you want to fight in America? Do you want to stay in Europe? Are you calling out people like Dylan Dennis? What are you doing?
You know, I'm not a big fan of call out. I don't call anyone out. I think I get enough call outs myself. So I just want, if I get through Corey, then I just want another step up in opposition. And then I would love to fight in America. That's the dream. But that's not up to me. That's up to Scott. So we'll see.
Let me ask Scott. Scott, I'm always asking you in America, when are we going to get it in the UK in Lifetime? Here we are. Is the American audience going to be able to watch this live, or that it's going to be on tape delay for them, the European series? And what is the strategy with British and European people like James, obviously James has fought in America as well, with these guys doing very well and becoming kind of box office stars, if you like. There's been a history of big stars going to America in other organisations. Will you keep them here? Will you be able to create pay-per-view events here?
Yeah, I mean, I think that if you look at the Bellator model, it's not just based on a pay-per-view model, and it's been on free TV on Paramount before Spike. Now it's on DAZN on streaming in the U.S. and in several countries around the world. So it's not just relying on pay-per-view. And I will say this: look, as the talent grows here, I mean, they'll all be fighting. You know, in America, we're going to be we're going to continue to grow. Once we get the European series off, we're going to start doing fights in Latin America, and then and then in Asia as well. So, you know, we worked something out with Saki Kibara does Ryzen. In December last year, we brought a fighter over, and we're going to send another fighter this year, and then before the end of the year, maybe we'll do a 5-on-5 match with, you know, Ryzen. So we're not afraid to mix it up and do it and play it out, you know, with different countries and different organizations. But I will say, you know, the opportunity to fight in America will always be there because we will have 22 fights a year in the U.S.
A final one for you, Scott, and for you, David. I don't think the microphone's working anymore. But to what extent, or can you give us a list of cities that you think you will be able to take it to this year, take the events to in the European series?
Yeah, well, I think, I mean, the plan is certainly in the UK, and I think we've shown what works in the UK, both with the sort of co-pros we've done in the past. So the model's definitely big arena shows. I mean, it's a big production Bellator.
So you're talking Liverpool, London, Manchester?
London, Birmingham, Newcastle, London, Dublin, and then we'll be looking to near Europe. You know, we've talked about Stockholm. I think that's a huge place for us. It's a hotbed of MMA, and I'd love to do a show out there. So I think you'll be seeing all the big cities coming up.
Lovely, thank you.
All right, seeing no questions, we will dismiss the current panel. All these fighters, as well as Scott and Dave, will be available for interviews afterwards. We'll do a quick change over here and bring up MVP and Paul Daly. So give us a couple minutes.
Let's take a look at Bellator MMA's top 10 knockouts. Here we go! At number 10, Taiwan, Eric Claxton takes flight.
Look at Claxton, man. Very athletic, but real quick with those.
Oh! Hit us all over! Just like that! Oh, man! He covered some distance with that flying knee. Number 9, AJ McKee with the phenomenal head kick.
MMA, there is no horizon. Only the fight in front of you, unless that fight is over. AJ McKee was looking for a spectacular win to get himself back on track, and did he ever get it?
Number 8, Douglas Lima, and this stunning KO of Andrei Koreshkov in Tel Aviv, Israel.
Good shots. Good up there.
Is down. He's in trouble, and it's over.
Looked like Koreshkov was doing great. Bang! Left hook over the top. Look at that. No comparison in the power of Douglas Lima.
Coming in at number 7, Patricky Pitbull absolutely crushes Ryan Couture.
Oh, good luck. This is it. We're done. We are done. Man, we knew he had knockout power. Huge left hook. Man, what a finish. He is still down.
More Pitbull power at number 6. This time, it's Patricio and his stunning left versus Daniel Weichel.
Weichel trying to make the most of it, landing with, oh my God! Another spectacular comeback for Pitbull, this time on the feet. I am stunned, I do not believe it.
At number 5, a rare double knockdown leads to a legendary knockout by Matt Mitrione over Fedor at Bellator NYC.
Same time, Rocky style.
Yeah,
and
Rocky
Matt
did Rocky 3.
Yeah, Matt Mitrione recovered quicker.
Wow. Number 4, young gun Aaron Pico makes a statement.
Pico beginning to what a left hook! Pico closes the book on this matchup in style. Welcome to the show, Aaron Pico.
Number 3, Paul Daly lives up to the nickname Semtex with this explosive flying knee.
Spinning elbow cut. Oh! Mary's Brennan Ward. A spectacular finish as promised from Paul Semtex Daly. That would have knocked out anyone. I don't care how strong your chin is. No follow-up because he knew this one was done.
Coming in at number 2, Michael Chandler and this lightning fast right hand.
Chandler, and it's over. Michael Chandler came in wanting to take the fight to the ground. Instead, he puts Patricky Pitbull to the ground. That right hand, where he landed it, would have knocked out a welterweight, a middleweight. That's exactly how you're supposed to do it. And a rhinoceros.
And the number 1 knockout in Bellator MMA, MVP, Michael Venom Page, and this devastating flying knee.
Beautiful. Runs into the jump knee, and it's over. Did the hype train
We'll go ahead and get
just
started.
pick up speed because it didn't derail?
We'll go ahead and get started with the second part of our press conference. Turn over to Scott Coker.
Testing, 1, 2, 3, testing. Is it working? Testing. Okay. Hey guys, welcome back. Listen, we have a big fight coming up at the Mohegan Sun Hotel and Casino in Connecticut on the 16th of February. This is a fight that we tried to bring here to the UK for the UK fans, and it didn't work out, but we're excited about this event, and we thought that we would be, a great addition to this press conference to bring you 2 of the greatest fighters in the history of the UK, and that's Paul Daly and MVP. It'll be broadcast on on Paramount Network in the United States. We will have some distribution announcements maybe later tonight, maybe tomorrow, but it will be live here in the UK, and we're just waiting on a few things to work out, but it'll be a great announcement. So everybody here will be able to watch it live. This is part of the World Welterweight Grand Prix. The winner advances to the semifinals, and then if they win again, they go advance to the finals, and that's where our friend 50 Cent agreed to put up $1 million. So there'll be $1 million prize money on top of what they already get paid for the winner of this Grand Prix tournament, which will be sometime in September. So this is an elimination match, and the winner moves forward, and the winner will be out of the tournament. At this point, I'd just like to turn it back to you, Ryan, and open up for questions.
Open up for questions.
Michael Morgan, Woe TV. Michael, a lot of people have leveled at you that, you are lacking a test. Surely in your own mind, you surely would have felt you've had your test, or do you feel that Semtex is the test for you?
every fight I have, the same questions come up, and this person's going to be your test, and then I do what I do. Okay, now this person's going to be a test, and then I do what I do. It's going to be the same thing after pool, and it's going to continue to be for a long time. I know what level I am. I know what I'm capable of, and I'm just going to keep doing it. This journey is for me and not anybody else.
Paul, speaking of journeys, nicely segue in to what this journey does for you. Now, you know, simply put, what does, if you do actually manage to do it, what does a win over Michael Page do for you?
Yeah, it does nothing really. It just puts me a step closer to the $1 million. Dispels the illusion a little bit, and apart from that, it really does nothing.
Question for Scott. You said you tried to put the fight on here in the UK. Can you give us some insight into why it wasn't possible to have it here in the UK?
Yeah, we, you know, the fight is a fight that's going to be part of the DAZN circuit in the U.S. And I came to London 4 or 5 months ago, and I asked James Rushton from DAZN, I said, we'd really like to do this fight in the UK, and I'd like to do it in London. We think it makes a lot of sense for a lot of different reasons. He said, okay, you can go ahead and do it. We'd prefer to be in the United States, but you know, we understand, so we'll go ahead and do it. And so for about 48 hours, we were here trying to secure the venue. We just couldn't secure the venue for the time slot that we needed to do it this month. So everything was booked here, the O2, the SSC Wembley, everything was booked. So we just couldn't lock down a venue to make it happen. So instead of taking it to an outer city, we said, okay, we're just going to take it back to the United States and do it there. And that was a decision.
Paul, this fight has been a long time in the making. You've had multiple press conferences and face-offs with Michael. How has your relationship with him developed along the course of that promotional journey, and how do you feel about him right now sitting up there today?
I have no relationship with him, and I find it funny the tag friend to foes. I was never his friend. I worked for the same promotion as him. We did a few PR shoots together. We were never friends. What was the rest of the question?
It was just how your emotions and how your feelings towards him have changed over the course.
You know, he says I'm a little bit erratic in all of this, which I can be, but for this fight,
You're a bitch.
But for this fight, I'm quite steady, and you know, all the talking for me is over. February 16th, we're going to fight, and that is that.
And same question to Michael. How has your opinion of Paul changed over the course of the last 18 months or so?
I wouldn't spit on him if he's on fire.
Michael will lose this fight. That's all we need to know. He's going to lose. He's going to get knocked out. That is it. Simple.
That's what
that
it is.
That is it.
The reason why this fight hasn't happened, you know, years before is because he's a little bitch.
Okay, Mike.
Someone splashed $1 million in his face, and
okay,
you know,
Mike.
he felt
February
forced.
16th, Mike.
He felt forced.
February 16th, Mike. It's
he
okay,
felt forced
Mikey.
to actually take this fight.
Little Mikey, it's okay.
Next question, please. Next question.
Oh, one more, sorry from me. Who was the first one to sign a contract? Who signed the contract first?
Are you asking me?
Yeah, which one of these two was the first to put pen to paper?
You know what? We sent them both out. They both agreed to the fight. I'm not sure which one signed it and sent it back first, but you know, we have a fight next Saturday in Connecticut.
I signed it when I was about to fight Cyborg. That's how long it was. That's when I agreed to the fight. How many years ago was that? 2 years? That's when I signed it.
Paul, you've said in previous interviews and previous press conferences you wanted this fight to happen when it made financial sense for the spotty kids. Welterweight Grand Prix, part of the path to $1 million. Is that sort of what you were looking for?
Yeah, my purse is quite handsome as well. You know, not just $1 million. So I waited for the right time.
Still shit.
And I feel like
it's not on my level.
I'm going to get paid well, and he's going to get knocked out. So for me, it's the talking is over. February 16th, all this act, all the illusion, all the dancing, all of that is over. Really, like sometimes I get a little bit frustrated when people are asking me how I feel about Michael Page and all that. I'm like, are you watching what I'm watching?
You hate me, bro.
I don't hate you, Mike. I love you, Mikey. I love you.
You're jealous,
I love
bro.
you. Why am I? This kid. This guy's funny. Would you believe it? This guy's 32 years old. Oh my
jealous,
God.
bro.
February 16th, we're going to fight. He's going to get knocked out. That's it.
Next question, Michael. We're sort of used to putting sort of exuberant celebrations on after a fight. Will this be a bit more toned down, a bit more of a tribute to your father?
Nah, you know what? He'd want me to be exactly how I am. So it'll be the same. I'm not going to change anything. I'm just going to put on a really good show for him. And that's it.
Final question, lads. After all said and done, February 16th, are you going to shake hands and sort of quash this beef?
Hex no.
I don't think
no.
it would be appropriate to pull him up off the ground
Hell
to shake
no.
his hand. I don't think that's appropriate.
Hell
Maybe
no.
afterwards, but, you know.
This guy be whining like a little bitch anyway.
Mike, really? You're not going to win this
Really?
fight, bro.
You're not
Look
gonna
at me.
win?
Look at me, Michael.
Look
Take
at
your
me.
glasses off. You're going to
Look at
lose,
me.
bro.
Shut
You're going to
your mouth,
lose.
bro.
You're going to get knocked out.
Shut your mouth.
You're going to get knocked
You're
out.
a dickhead.
Next
Am I
question,
really?
please.
You're
Next
really
question.
the
Let's go to the
same
next question.
For many years,
Okay,
you're shit,
okay.
bro.
February
You're
16th, we're going to
overrated.
see. I'm overrated. Okay.
All right, gentlemen, let's
All
keep
this
this
talk,
thing
you have
moving.
to back up. February 16th.
Shut
Next,
your mouth.
Garrett.
All right,
Garrett.
mate.
This is obviously a grudge match that's been in the making for a long time.
It's not a grudge match. It was just a matter of timing, and the timing's right. He's going to get knocked out, and that's that. This guy.
How
do
can
you
it
know
not
what?
be a grudge match?
Mike,
but this guy runs
Mike,
at
you
me
okay?
after a fight.
Mike,
he
you
loses
okay,
a
mate?
fight, calls me a pussy.
You're finally getting
he wins
paid,
a
Mike.
fight,
You're
calls
finally
me out
getting
again.
paid. You get
Shut
paid.
your mouth.
No
You
orange
chat
juice
so
and
much
sandwiches. I was
shit.
watching you the other day, watching your fight
You
in a
watch-
leisure
you've been
centre
watching me since I
on some
joined
square
this.
mats.
You've been watching me since I
with some
joined this
square
game.
mats.
You've been watching me
fighting
since
for
I
orange
joined
juice
this, bro.
and sandwiches.
Since I joined this game, you've been watching me, and that is the hate that's coming from you.
I think about that time I was taking my mum and my dad to Jamaica. You're fighting for sandwiches and orange juice. Come on, Mike. Come on, Mike.
Doesn't
in
that-
front
did
of, in front
that-
of
did
like
that
20
journey-
people.
did
In
that
front
journey
of
not
20
bring me to this
people
table?
on some mats.
So why would
Be
you call me
quiet,
out?
mate.
Why
February
would you call me out?
16th.
Why would you
You're
call me out?
getting knocked
Next
out.
question,
Why would you call me
next
out?
Take your
question,
glasses
please.
off.
Why would you call me
Why
out?
have you got your glasses on?
Why would you call me out?
Someone
Gareth?
ask him that question.
Why would you
have
call
you got
me
your
out?
glasses on?
Gareth, you got a question to Gareth?
Why have you got your glasses on, mate?
Come on, Paula.
Unfortunately, obviously, this is a fight that's not in the UK, but it's safe to say this is the biggest fight in UK history.
Yeah, it's a
Absolutely.
shame it's not in the UK. It's definitely a shame it's not in the UK. It should have been here in front of, our crowd.
Really, I feel like the talking's over. I just
But
like
because
February
if the talking's
16th
over, shut up.
February
If
16th.
the talking's over,
I
shut the hell
promise
up.
you guys, this
Shut
guy's
up.
getting knocked out. I know
Shut
there's
up.
a lot of people in this room that believe in the illusion, but if you really look at this guy fight, really look at the fight, really see how he performs.
Yeah.
He cannot win this fight. He
Oh.
cannot win this fight.
Okay.
He's gonna get knocked out.
Yeah, that's-
Trust me.
Yeah, that's true.
He is going to get knocked out.
Yeah.
Mike, you are not
Yeah.
gonna win.
Yeah.
You are gonna lose, bro. You are gonna
Your
lose.
words.
You are gonna
The
lose.
time for talking
Trust
is
me,
over.
Look at me. You're gonna
Okay,
lose.
next
bro.
que- next
You're
question,
losing.
guys. Next
You're getting
question.
knocked out.
Shut up.
You are gonna
Next
lose.
question.
Take your glasses off.
A question for Paul Daly. Paul, is your carp? Are you irked in a way that your feeling for you is that Michael doesn't respect your body of work in the sport?
It's not a matter of respect. I don't care. I'm comfortable in my life,
You're definitely not.
I've got everything that I've worked hard
definitely
for.
don't.
I've got. I don't like to talk in material things because you talk too much and they tend to go away. But I'm comfortable. I don't have to
You
take
ain't
this fight.
comfortable, bro.
I'm comfortable, okay?
You're definitely not.
So
That's why you keep calling my name out.
It's not a matter of.
That's why you keep calling my
It's
name
not
out.
a matter
No
of
one
being
else.
frustrated
My
by
name.
this kid here. It's just a
My
matter of.
name.
It was a matter of timing.
MVP.
And it's a matter of knocking him out.
I'm
basically.
changing your name,
There's too much
So
of
many
an
people
illusion.
contact me now calling
This
you
guy
Tampax.
is so
It's
good on
mad.
social media. This guy's so
Thank you
good
for your little,
that he's actually fooled people into believing he is
small
incredible
figures of yourself.
and good fighter. He's not. He's not a credible or good fighter. This guy is pathetic.
Paula
Even in the sport where he was good at, he
Paula
was still
fighting.
only getting bronze and silver medals. He wasn't even the best at that. This
Remember when he
guy's
got taken
getting knocked
down?
out.
Boo.
This guy's getting knocked
Boo.
out. Mike, what's up? What's up? What's up, man?
All right, let's
You
keep it
all right?
going. Let's
You
keep
all
this
right,
thing
mate?
going.
You good?
This is you fighting, bro.
Question for you. Question for you then, Michael. What is your issue with Paul? Explain it.
He's a dickhead. Like, anybody that's met him, he's a prick. He's a prick. He's been that way for
You
a
don't
very
even know
long
me,
time.
Mike.
This is
How
why he
do you
got
know
kicked
me?
out of the UFC.
How do you know me?
'cause
How do
he's
you
a
know
dick.
me? Do you know
He's a
me?
dick. He's
Do you know me?
unprofessional.
Do you know me?
Sport brat.
Do you
He's
know
a
me?
dick.
Do you know me?
Do you know me?
No, you don't. Look at this.
You don't know me.
It's all right, Mike.
Next question, please. Let's go.
Mike,
shut up.
You're still wearing
Shut
your
up.
glasses. You're
Scott,
still
what's
wearing
it like
them. If you didn't know, you
presiding
still have
over the
glasses on.
biggest grudge match in British MMA history? Also, probably the most anticipated fight between two British mixed martial
Can I
artists.
just clear up?
Can I just
It's
clear
not
up?
a grudge. I don't
It's not a
dislike
grudge.
this guy.
So why
I
do you
don't
keep calling my
dislike
name
him.
out?
I don't
After your
dislike-
fights.
Why am I
That's supposed to be
calling-
about you, bro. After your fights, you call me out.
Because Mike, since I
Bro,
signed
that's like
with the
banging your woman
promotion,
and calling the next woman's name out.
Mike,
You
let's not
madman.
get personal here,
You
okay?
madman.
Let's not get personal here, because I've been respectful of your situation. Let's not get
Of my
personal.
situation.
Let's not get personal.
Do your thing, bro.
All right? Let's
do
not get
your
personal.
thing, bro.
You
Trust
will
me.
come
Do your
off
thing,
worse, bro.
No,
And
do your
you
thing.
will probably start
Nah,
crying
trust
on
me.
stage.
Do your
Hey guys,
thing,
let's
bro.
keep it. Let's keep it
Just shut
going.
up.
Let's
Do
keep
your
it going.
thing.
That's what I'm gonna tell
Do
you.
your thing.
Let's not
You
get
keep
personal.
used to keep dangling
Let's
his
not
thing.
get
Do
personal.
your thing, bro.
Yeah, hold on, guys.
Coker.
Let's keep it. Hold on,
Won't
guys.
leave.
Hold
Nah,
on.
I'm not gonna
Time
do
out.
it. Don't
Time
worry.
out. Time
Don't
out.
shake your head. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I'm respectful, okay? I'm respectful.
How does it feel,
Don't
Scott, to be
mention
sitting there in the middle of them?
You know what? Here's what I would say. Listen, you're feeling the heat, and yeah, I'm telling you, I was telling somebody else earlier, when these two guys get in the cage next Saturday, it's going to be electric. It's going to be explosive. I think this is a fight that the whole world wants to see, and it's going to be dynamite. So I'm really looking forward to it. Listen, my job is to sit there and watch it unfold, and you know what? It's like I'm really looking forward to it. That's all I gotta say. But I think that, you know what, with this, I think we should just bring it down to one-on-ones. I think you guys, have had a nice chat with these two gentlemen, and we should move on. So thank you very much for coming today, and good luck to MVP, good luck to Paul Daly, and we'll see you guys in Connecticut.
Number 4, young guy Aaron Pico makes a statement.